In the Middle East, the United States, Israel and Iran form a tense triangle that shapes global politics. Each nation has powerful, often clashing interests that could spark a major conflict. The US acts as a superpower and protector of allies, especially Israel, while trying to contain Iran's ambitions. Israel, surrounded by hostile neighbors, sees Iran as an existential threat and relies on US support for security. Iran, with a proud history and revolutionary ideology, seeks regional dominance and challenges both US and Israeli influence through proxies. This volatile dynamic means a single miscalculation could ignite a conflict with global consequences. The United States closely monitors Iran's nuclear program, viewing it with considerable apprehension. The concern stems from the potential for nuclear proliferation in an already unstable region. A nuclear-armed Iran could trigger a regional arms race, as neighboring countries seek to develop or acquire their own nuclear capabilities to counter the perceived threat. This would dramatically escalate tensions and increase the risk of conflict. Such a scenario would profoundly destabilize the world's most volatile region, exacerbating existing conflicts and creating new ones. The delicate balance of power would be shattered, leading to unpredictable and potentially catastrophic consequences. To prevent this dangerous outcome, America employs a multifaceted approach, utilizing both economic sanctions and diplomatic negotiations. These measures are designed to pressure Iran into curbing its nuclear ambitions and adhering to international agreements. The ultimate goal is to keep Iran from crossing the nuclear threshold, preventing the development of nuclear weapons, and ensuring regional and global security. This involves continuous monitoring, verification, and a willingness to engage in dialogue. The region's vast oil reserves and critical shipping lanes, particularly the Strait of Hormuz, are of paramount importance. These waterways are essential for the transportation of oil to global markets. Their stability is vital to the global economy. Disruptions in oil supply can have far-reaching consequences. Any conflict in the region could send energy prices soaring, impacting businesses and consumers worldwide. The global economy is highly sensitive to fluctuations in oil prices, making stability in the Middle East crucial. The US also has a long-standing commitment to protect allies like Israel, providing military and financial assistance to ensure their security. And Saudi Arabia, another key partner in the region, vital for maintaining stability in the oil market. To bolster their defenses, the US is actively selling them advanced weapons systems, strengthening their ability to deter potential aggressors. Furthermore, the US is maintaining a network of military bases throughout the Middle East, projecting power and providing a rapid response capability. An attack on these allies could force US military intervention, potentially drawing the country into a wider conflict. This intricate web of alliances and commitments ties its fate inextricably to regional security, making it a key stakeholder in the region's stability. The US and Iran are locked in a complex and multifaceted struggle for influence, a geopolitical chess game with high stakes. This is often viewed as a zero-sum game, with each side perceiving gains by the other as a direct loss, fueling a constant cycle of competition and rivalry. This deep-seated rivalry fuels deep mistrust and ongoing hostility, making it difficult to find common ground and resolve disputes peacefully. For Israel, Iran is not just a rival, it's an existential threat. Iranian leaders' calls for Israel's destruction and support for groups like Hezbollah and Hamas create constant danger on Israel's borders. Israel's military edge, backed by US support, is seen as essential for survival. A nuclear-armed Iran would upend this balance, emboldening its proxies and neutralizing Israel's advantage. Israeli leaders have vowed to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons, even through preemptive strikes if necessary. The fear isn't just a direct attack, but a future where every crisis could escalate into catastrophic war. For Israel, stopping a nuclear Iran is a non-negotiable security imperative. Iran's actions on the global stage are complex, often misunderstood, and deeply rooted in a confluence of factors. At the heart of it all lies a strong sense of national pride, a historical consciousness that shapes its present-day decisions. This pride stems from a rich cultural heritage, a legacy as a major regional power, and a determination to assert its sovereignty in a world it perceives as often hostile. Beyond national pride, revolutionary ideology plays a significant role. The 1979 revolution continues to define Iran's worldview, imbuing its foreign policy with a sense of mission to spread its ideals and challenge what it sees as Western hegemony. This ideology provides a framework for understanding the world and guides its actions, both domestically and internationally. Compounding these factors is a palpable sense of encirclement. Iran perceives itself as being surrounded by U.S. military bases, facing a nuclear-armed Israel, and constantly under threat from external forces. This perception fuels a siege mentality, driving its defense policies and shaping its regional strategies. Consequently, its nuclear program is framed not as an offensive ambition, but as a deterrent, a means of self-defense in a dangerous world. It's presented as a shield against regime change, a guarantee against foreign threats, and a symbol of national resilience. Simultaneously, Iran actively seeks regional leadership, aspiring to be a dominant force in the Middle East. To achieve this, it has been building a network of proxies, supporting various groups and movements across the region. This network allows Iran to project power far beyond its borders and export its revolutionary ideals, extending its influence into neighboring countries. However, decades of crippling sanctions have taken a heavy toll, making economic survival a top priority for the Iranian government. The impact on the Iranian people has been significant, leading to widespread economic hardship. This economic pressure has pushed Iran to use its regional influence as leverage in negotiations, seeking relief from sanctions in exchange for concessions. Furthermore, the regime skillfully uses external threats to foster national unity, rallying the population against perceived enemies. This external focus helps to distract from internal problems and maintain control at home, solidifying the regime's grip on power. Ultimately, Iran's aggressive foreign policy is as much about consolidating power internally, managing dissent, and maintaining the status quo as it is about projecting strength abroad, asserting its dominance in the region, and challenging the existing world order. In this complex game of international politics, its nuclear ambitions are both a bargaining chip, a tool for negotiation and leverage, and a tool for regime survival, a means of ensuring its long-term security and deterring potential adversaries. In the intricate dance of international relations, a preemptive strike stands as a particularly dangerous maneuver. It's a high-stakes gamble, a decision made under immense pressure, and often based on incomplete information. A preemptive strike is one of the most likely triggers for war, especially in regions fraught with tension and historical animosity. The logic, however flawed, is to strike first to neutralize a perceived threat before it can materialize. This logic can quickly lead to a devastating conflict. Consider the scenario in the Middle East. Israel might attack Iran's nuclear sites, a move driven by existential concerns and a long-standing rivalry. This attack could occur if Israel believes Tehran is close to building a bomb, perceiving the development of nuclear weapons by Iran as an unacceptable threat to its national security. The stakes are incredibly high, and the margin for error is razor-thin. In such a scenario, Israel might see the risks of inaction as greater than the risks of war, believing that a preemptive strike, however dangerous, is the only way to prevent a catastrophic shift in the regional balance of power. The U.S. could then be drawn into the conflict, a consequence of its extensive network of alliances and its strategic interests in the region. This involvement could happen if its forces or allies are attacked, triggering mutual defense treaties and escalating the conflict beyond its initial scope. The U.S. might also intervene if Iran tries to close the Strait of Hormuz, a vital artery for global oil supplies, as this would have severe economic repercussions worldwide. On the other side, Iran, feeling threatened by imminent attack and facing the prospect of losing its nuclear program, might strike first against U.S. bases or regional allies, attempting to deter further aggression and disrupt any coordinated military action against it. This preemptive move would be aimed to disrupt enemy plans, cripple their ability to respond effectively, and potentially gain a strategic advantage in the opening stages of the conflict. The region's crowded battlefields with multiple actors and overlapping interests mean even a small skirmish, a minor miscalculation, could spiral into a major conflict, drawing in various regional and international powers. Miscalculation or accidental escalation is a constant risk in such a volatile environment where tensions are high and communication channels are often strained. This risk is further amplified by each side feeling pressured to respond to perceived threats, creating a dangerous cycle of action and reaction that can quickly spiral out of control. The use-it-or-lose-it mentality, particularly concerning strategic assets, heightens the danger of rapid escalation, as military commanders may feel compelled to act quickly to prevent their forces from being neutralized. Ultimately, a war could erupt not only from deliberate action, a calculated decision to initiate hostilities, but also from a single unintended incident, a tragic accident, or a misinterpretation of intentions that sets off a chain reaction of escalating responses. An attack on Iran would trigger immediate, widespread retaliation through its proxy network. Hezbollah could bombard Israeli cities while Iranian-backed militias target US bases and disrupt shipping. The conflict would quickly become a multi-front regional war, with devastating humanitarian and economic consequences. Oil prices would skyrocket, causing a global energy crisis and economic recession. Diplomatic fallout would strain alliances and empower rivals like Russia and China. The region could descend into chaos with massive casualties, refugees, and opportunities for extremist groups. Ironically, a strike might only deepen Iran's resolve to pursue nuclear weapons, ensuring the conflict's return in a more dangerous form. Concerns. The US-Israel-Iran conflict draws in other major powers with their own stakes. Saudi Arabia, Iran's Sunni rival, fears Tehran's ambitions and supports a hardline stance, but risks being targeted in any war. Russia backs Iran to challenge US influence and benefit from higher oil prices, but avoids full-scale chaos. China, reliant on Middle Eastern oil, seeks stability and invests in Iran as part of its global strategy. European powers want diplomacy to avoid war and a refugee crisis, but have limited leverage over the main players. Each actor's interests complicate the search for peace, making the region a chessboard of competing agendas. The risk of escalation is heightened by the involvement of so many powerful competing interests. The US-Israel-Iran standoff is a tangled web of fear, ambition, and mistrust. Each nation's actions are shaped by history, security needs, and hidden agendas, making compromise nearly impossible. The threat of preemptive strikes, retaliation, or accidental escalation keeps the region on a knife's edge. War would bring humanitarian disaster, economic crisis, and global instability. Hidden motives, superpower status, economic dominance, regime survival, fuel a cycle of suspicion and escalation. True peace requires addressing both public and private fears, but deep mistrust makes this unlikely. Without a dramatic shift in perspective and genuine diplomacy, this triangle will remain a flashpoint the world cannot afford to ignore.